Okay, so even though I just got off, apparently I want to tell the story about the dream. So I had many psychic experiences after awakening to being Avatar at age 4. After that, people would speak to me wanting to speak to their relative that was still alive, you know, or say an unborn baby would want to speak to, their mother. And so it had things like that would happen. I would just be like, you should name your baby Nellie. Why? I'm going to do this name. Oh, we don't think we like that name. The baby's like, don't let her name me Nellie. And so then I would deliver this message and they'd be looking at me like, dee, 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 dee. How did this 6-year-old know that I was thinking of this other name? Blah, blah, blah. So I reached a point where I just really honestly freaked people out. And when I was 8, the DC-10, the Potomac, went into the Potomac. And I had premonition of it. And it was a really scary dream. I was cold, suddenly underneath water. I looked up and there were lights in the water. And then I saw an airplane shadow fly over the water. And then suitcases were floating in the water and I could hear people screaming for their family members and stuff like that. It was really traumatic. I went to school and I told my teacher about this, Mrs. B. And she was just like, wow, what a dream you had. And then, was like a couple of days later that the accident happened. And I'll always remember that because she was my favoriteest teacher and I just loved her so much. And after that, she never talked to me again. She had been my prior year teacher, 4th grade. I was in now, and she had been my 3rd grade teacher. It was just such a bummer. And at that point, I also had been molested. And the combination of being molested and then totally rejected by my favorite teacher for being psychic, it just squashed me. And at that point, I really reached an internal stance of frustration with my family. My family was the most, just eaten up with codependence. Just somebody stop us now. It was just that classic, there's no reason this is happening right now but for the bad American diet and all the crap we're fed and think we're supposed to buy into, blah, blah, blah. And I had reached a point of my own, just if you can't beat them, join them, frig those a-holes. I'm over it kind of thing. Because I was an empath that was also awakened to a different level of beingness without being consciously in control of its affect on me. And in a family that was troubled. Greatly troubled by things that had already happened to the women in the family and for the lives of the men that were not addressed such that they could become happy and healthy at that time. It took quite a great struggle. So I really buried my abilities, and then it turned into this myth and this mystery of me. Sometimes I'm psychic, I just don't know why, But I started to become interested in, things beyond Christianity because I just felt real deeply that the condemnation of, Christianity and hell and all of that was odd. This is not right. That something would be done to people. But Jesus taught is done unto you as you believe. And so all the people that are teaching condemnation, wrong Ola. It is if you believe that. However, karma and burning it and understanding and walking a mile in another's shoes is not the same. Hell is a place where all of the things that you are afraid will happen, do happen all at once. And then you in it to win it. Meaning, you're in there to get your way out of there. To figure out and remember that you have the power. Now, in this case, the power goes like this. The next level is a place where there's no murdering, no raping going on. So you have to set down all ideas of such. So you actually have to become willing to become a brand new being when you leave here. A being of the field, not a being of an awakening process. That's a pretty good one. We got. We do. The kids approve. That I will wow. Okay, so all of this is a preface. So many different details to just share with you about all of this. Yeah. So I found the New Thought community. The change your thinking, change your life. Okay, the way to think of New Thought is not that we're so awesome, we're thinking all these new thoughts. We're the bomb. No. Yes, you're the bomb, and yes, you're thinking thoughts that are awesome. Okay. However, the whole situation is if you don't like your life, think a new thought. Because your thoughts are powerful, and they manifest. That's it. So pick and choose the thoughts to cultivate as your habits. Thanks, guides. They think you're really cute when you do that. I'm like, thank you. So, when I was 19, my parents separated and divorced the minute I got out of the house. I moved on campus and it was like, the big D. Dang. And it was at that point that I started to express my spiritual independence. My dad had let me, be a free thinker. My mom was bummed about that. Really wished I'd been raised Christian, but she just let go of it. And my dad at the time was Lutheran and went to a friggin' church where they had one of those flaming crosses. I had judgments about that. Yeah, we're not racist, but I go to a church where they burn a fucking cross on the Sunday. Oh, because it's the everlasting light. Yeah, fine. Do an everlasting light, but not a fucking cross where people are burned alive on those and it's the symbol of I'm not racist though. Those are my judgments about that. So my father was going to a church like that, whereas my mother was not doing anything. But then she got married, and he was super into like Native American spirituality. But then he got emphysema because he was a smoker. And then he started to die, and then both of them got all Christian. They're like, need to save our asses and get Christianity. I don't know how it happened. But they started to go to a church where he started talking tongues, even. And so at this time, we had my father, the devil, in a Lutheran church, and my mother, the victim, and her oracle husband speaking tongues. And I'm like, what is up with y'all people? Trying to find my way. And I found the concepts of meditation and prayer. And I found concepts like Edgar Cayce and the crystal skulls and some things that were a cross between, this woo-woo stuff and physical science. And I'm like, they've got recordings of that stuff where this guy just knows what's wrong with him and tells him what to do. And that's not something that a doctor would have ever told him. And it's like success results, So I started to come across stuff like that and look at like ancient mysteries. And when I started to read Crystal Skull Speaks, and it started to describe the woman and her personality and how she was a doubter and all of that, I was like, I'm going to meet that woman. I just knew her reading the book like as if I knew her in person. And I found a book, and I believe it's Shakti Gawain, but it might have been Sonia Choquette. But interestingly, I can't find the title in either author's thing. And the book was a peachy orange and yellow cover. And the name of the book is Developing Your Intuition. And it had a guided meditation in there that I was going to record for myself, but I ended up just like reading a paragraph and then sitting in meditation. And then I do that. And then read a paragraph and then go back into meditation, And it worked fine. And it said, ask your soul's name, your higher self, right? Not a soul, your higher self. Some people call it the soul, but it's your higher self. Has a name, ask it its name. It might have a gender, it might not. Ask it for your personal symbol and ask it for your mantra. Your mudra. And I did those things and I got my mudra, my personal symbol, and my name. And they came through so clear. Real easy. And the name that came through was Ria Sontari, right? Sontari. I thought it sounded so Japanese. And I was like, somebody be fooling me, Turns out it's Italian. However, the Anunnaki. So, the dream I want to tell you about. So I went to a retreat and I was, I think, 22 by then. And the retreat was at a woman named JoBeth Ackerman in Seattle. And she had studied with, I think, a gentleman named Ken and a guy named Dreamwalker. And that was like the Seattle Dreamwalker anchors. She ended up needing to be questioned about her ethics later. However, when it came to, that information, she was a good source at that time, however attacked and however she responded to that attack, by becoming something that, maybe today she isn't. I don't know. But I learned about metaphysics, and it was really a wonderful experience. And there was a young girl there, and I introduced myself to her, and she said, your name, you don't seem like a Sherry to me. And I was like, why? And she was like, your name's like Tia, Sia, Leah. And I was like, Rhea. And she was like, yeah, that's way better. And, I didn't have the courage to change my name for quite a while. And I often wonder, what would have happened to me back then in the early 90s. How would our planet be different? What's that timeline like? And it's definitely, better. So, the class went like over, a couple of days, and like weekend. So Friday night, Saturday all day, Sunday all day. And Saturday night of the thing, I had this dream. And, okay, so actually this is when I was 19. Yeah, I was 19. And I didn't meet that girl. Right? So that is the mish. I've been trying to work things out without going to my journal. And the meditation of getting my name, I was a little bit older. But the introductory class I was 19, because that's when my parents got divorced. Maybe I was 20. I do have to write all of this and put it, together nicely, so that I'm not meshing, because the whole name thing, that's only a slightly bit later, and it doesn't change. I still didn't change my name for many years. Okay, but what I want to talk about is that dream. Yeah. Look, it's okay to remember that you're in a process of remembering something, because memories exist and you find them. Okay, it's all right. Yeah. So at the time of the dream, my paternal grandmother, was still alive. And I'm saying that because she's in the dream. But in the dream, I know it's the future. And she's dead in that future. So the night of this dream, I'm living in my house I'm definitely my father moved so I was 20. But then that would have meant, and that person was of no interest. So it's a year after my parents' divorce. All right. It's a year after my parents' divorce. And the second night of this metaphysical stuff, where we learned about the Dogons and sacred geometry and the Merkaba and Dreamwalker's meditation, just tons and tons and tons of things. And I went to bed that night, and I wasn't into drugs. I had tried pot with my first boyfriend. It didn't work out. I had by then done mushrooms a year prior. But other than that, I was still like goody two shoes, hadn't quite, figured out to get a fake ID at the age of, dot, dot, dot. Okay? And so I went to bed and I woke up in my bed. Now the wall's behind me. I'm in a twin-size bed, feet away from that wall. The door and my feet are near each other. And then behind me, house-wise, is a garage. And then also next to it is the front door. So I wake up paralyzed. And I hear a sound of a really, really like an electrical whip cracking. And it's just like a whick. And I wake up to a start and it's like and I can't move because of the of this electricity has me. Whatever end of the whip got me. And I'm held. And I'm frozen. And I'm like, what the heck? And it freaked me out. And above my head, from behind the wall, flew and floated above my head an orb about, like, I want to say 8 to 9 inches across. And it was cerulean blue, neon glowing, and bouncing. And it freaked me out, and I asked for everything to stop, and it stopped. Fell back asleep. Woke up from my sleep, walked around, peeked around, went to open the front door, turned on the porch light, and it was full of fuchsia and purple colored fish eggs about the size of like baseballs, with little beings inside going blink, 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 blink. And I'm just like, what the heck? And I turn the light off and I turn it back on and there's nothing there. I turn around, I go back to sleep. I'm like, this is weird. But I'm not freaked out, and that's the weird part. I'm not freaked out. I'm just kind of like, oh, this is weird. And I go back to bed. And it fucking happens again. I wake up paralyzed. But the paralysis wears off. The orb comes back through the wall again, floats over me, goes like this. And I get this feeling of like I hear, but it's so faint, but it's like, follow me. And it goes, and it flies back through the window. Through the wall, I mean. I'm like, eh. It's gone. I get up, I walk outside, and I friggin' turn on the light, and there's the fucking fish eggs again. But then I open the door, and they disappear. And I look through the door, and out there are these two huge purple with fuchsia highlights, very fish-like, very seahorse / fish-like beings that have friggin' spawned on my front door. And so I walk through the door towards that, and that fades away. And I heard someone on a radio go, The aliens have landed. I repeat, the aliens have landed. And I walk out into this realm where these dying fish are there and they're gone. And then my grandmother's walking up the road. And as she's walking up the road, I hear a transformer blow up the hill. And it's blown. And she's all like, well, we've done everything we could do to stabilize it. But there will be some explosions. It's time. And as she's like, I don't know, fading away or what, I turned the other direction and a herd of unicorns comes thundering down the hill. Runs past to where my grandma's going to. I wake up in my bed. Like, that was a dream. Walk out to the front door. Nothing there. Except on the porch is, now, I've lived there for quite a while at that point. You know, over a decade. And I ain't never seen anything but a slug. And lo and behold, there was a friggin' black and white snail going across the front porch. Slime behind it. Whatever it's got stuck to the slime on its booty. Snail is boop, a black and white snail. And I'm like, ooh, how interesting that it's black and white and there's a snail. There's never a snail, but it's sacred geometry, and it's a sign. It's a sign. Totally. If that snail is back here when I get back, then it's a double sign, right? Oh yeah, totally. Something's happening. And I felt like I was supposed to walk up this little hill. So, you know, it's still night. It's this really weird night. It's a very Truman Show energy, I got to tell you. It's very much like I feel like I'm on a set. And so I walk up this hill and I sit there and I say out loud, okay, God, universe, whatever this deal is, you told me to come out here. Here I am. And honest to goodness, the clouds, because they were like these little cottony, poofy, perfect little friggin' clouds, right? And they were just like covering the moon, but they were bright because they were covering the moon. You know what I mean? But there was these clouds, and they were in the shape of this in the middle. It was like a diamond in the middle. And the clouds went like this and they parted. And in the middle was Orion's belt. It was just like me, bam, three in the middle. And then one of the stars got really bright. It turned orange. It got bigger. And I heard it. It went zip. And like staring at it like, that's where I'm from. Those are my people. That's my team. It's where I was born. Question. But that's my peepsies right there. And then it stopped making the noise. It went back smaller. It went back to its normal color, not orange anymore. And then those clouds went back together. And I'm standing there like, okay, that was it. And I walked back down the hill. So I got down to my porch. And the snail was not there anymore. Nor was the snail trail. However, sitting on the porch where the snail had been was an empty black and white snail shell. And I was like, okay, this is my proof. If this is sitting next to my bed when I wake up in the morning, that's my proof that whatever this is really physically happened. And I was somehow communicated with and somehow interacted with that communication set. And holy poop, that's what you do. You take your piece of evidence and you break a pencil. Just like in Groundhog Day. That's an inception lesson. Oh, it was there. A broken pencil and a friggin' black and white snail shell. Where moments before there had been a living, happy, full out... Because you know how fast and slow they be going at the same time. You know, snails. There it was in its full glory. And then the mirror. And so that's when I learned that I am a dreamwalker. And that I step between the worlds. And holy boly doly holy... It's inception, yo. But I like to call it stimulation. I won a prize for that. Guess my name. You'll never be the same. Oh, I'm a princess. And my brother is Osiris, not my lover. He's not my twin. There's a difference. Get your educations, yo. You got some bad people on your planet, and it's okay to accept and admit that and act accordingly for your own well-being. And ultimately, it never ever matters what you look like, because don't judge a book by its cover. Bitches, yeah, whoops. Don't judge someone for looking rich. Don't judge someone for looking poor. Don't judge someone for having scars. Don't judge them. Do not judge someone as wrong. That's what y'all are having a problem with. You're having a problem with being judged as wrong, meaning the who that you are is wrong, not the what you're doing is wrong. Because you're all smart enough to know that when you're talking about a what is it that you're doing, y'all getting my Arcturian paint today. My gosh. Love it. Why am I pulsing like that? That's bizarre. Whoa. I mean, I know the light is moving around, but it was pulsing, so I'm going to see if I can figure out that. Oh, is that red from back there, like sometimes coming in and then catching the reflection? That's totally what it is. What a gift to understand color. Yeah, because that would freak me out. Seriously, yo. So, there is a video posted of me promulgating light. Yeah. Batatui. You ready? Yeah, we will to move on. So the end of the story is this. That's not the end, because that was the dream. So, the next day, I went to that class. And she was giving away some books. She's like, I'm over these books. My guidance told me to close my eyes and reach into the box and grab a book. And I reached into the box and no shit, pulled out a book about blue orbs that visit people. Weird. Now it's connected to the Pleiadians and Sirius B. Weird. Anywho, that's my peepsies. And I was broken to jokers. I've had a few times in my life where I haven't had cash flow in the place that I 100% wanted it. It's really hard to get non-judgmental, non-concretizing. All right, so we're improving in how we choose our words right now. So apparently I'm being woogied. Yeah, set myself free. So at the time I was low on funds. And I had a certain amount left on a credit card, and only that amount. And my guidance said, "You really want a pair of earrings?" Yo, the last thing I need right now is a pair of earrings. I'm telling you, you really want a pair of earrings from that one store in the U District. In fact, you want it so bad, you should go there right now. Okay, guidance, I want these earrings so bad that I'm going to go to that one store. That's really expensive right now when I'm not having the... Anywho. So I go there. And I'm following guidance. And it's like, follow your guidance. Go straight to the earrings. I went to the earrings. And, you know, I'm looking at the earrings. They're really cool. But then I see something out of the bottoms of my ass. It's like this little case. It's on the wall. And it's like got depth to it. And down in the bottom has fallen. What's that? It's a ring. Found it. So I asked the woman attendant about it, and she can't find a price for it. Doesn't know what it is, where it came. Can't find it. Offers me a price. Happens to be, with tax, exactly how much I have on my card, with like $2 left over. So I say yes. She's ringing me up, and she finds the actual price that it was supposed to have been, and I would not have been able to afford it. But she keeps her word. And that's the ring I showed you before, and this is the ring. It is Zuni, meaning Anon Haki. I can't wait to meet the owner. That's my dream story. I think that's the cleanest I've been able to tell it. There's always a layer that's missing, and my journals have it better. On the ages of when I did which certain things. It's all really close. It's all like 20, 21, 22, 23 in there, 24. Those were hot years for this one in terms of my skills that once again later got buried because I found what? Religious science, and it had the woogies taken out of it. When you look to an original copy, you'll see. Yeah, well. Oh, Scientologists, you're on my mind and heart. You get a lot right, but that whole subjugation thing. Oh, I'm gunning for that shit. Because we're here to save the children. For sure.